really amazing how many people are here and how many qualifications, how many skills and how many nationalities.
We're here for the first time and we've already talked to a lot of people, and organization is great. Everyone's very friendly.
I was very positively surprised that so many visitors came here to the fair to get in contact with us as employer.
It's great. I love it. I got to meet a lot of people from all around the world. The food is great and the venue is amazing. Everyone's so nice.
The environment is relaxed, like there's no that kind of like afraid to approach people and to engage in a conversation.
It's very good, it's very well organized, and I've met a lot of interesting people.
I had a great experience. I was able to meet so many interesting people. You can really see that they are looking for improvements on their careers, and we are really looking forward to the opportunity of meeting some of them back in our office.
A lot of people who are very interested in details, and I like to answer detailed questions and are not only scratching on the surface, so that was pretty cool.
I'm very surprised by the quality of the potential candidates. They're all very interested, very motivated, and it's very positive.
I think it's great. It's very nice. There's a lot more people than I expected, but I'm having great conversations with everybody, and it's amazing to get to know that many people at once.
I was at the Tech Jobs Fair in Berlin, and I love coming out here. You get to meet so many different faces, and I think people come from all over the world just to get to not only know your company, but just what's happening going on in Vienna, and just to see this beautiful, beautiful city.
As enriching for me as a participant, as it is for the visitors. Very, very high level, very ambitious people here today. It's fantastic.
I've literally met so many incredible people. I never thought I could network with so many people. I think I've added another 300 people on LinkedIn just being here today, it feels like. I think it's one of the best job fairs I've ever been to.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Triptisana, delighted to be your host from Tech Jobs Fair in today's Get Hired in Zurich webinar. On behalf of entire team of Tech Jobs Fair, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you. But before we dive into our webinar, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for joining us today. Today promises to be an enlightening sessions led by industry professionals sharing invaluable insights and expertise. Together, we'll explore the intricacies of the hiring process in Zurich and arm you with tips to secure your dream job or certainly your next dream job. So, now, without further ado, let's start this webinar by inviting Ms. Bindu Kalvaria, Head of Growth and Business at Tech Jobs Fair, to address this webinar. Hi, Bindu. How are you?
Thank you, Tripti. Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Great. So it's good to see you again, and the stage is all yours. And yeah, let's get started.
Sure, why not? So, hello everyone, good day, and nice to meet you everyone virtually this way. Tech Jobs Fair, what is Tech Jobs Fair, what are we doing, and how we can help you in getting your job in Zurich. So for this, with this topic, we are going to, have a lot of inputs from Tech Job Fair side, whereas I'm going to start this talk, this introduction or this welcome session with a bit detail about what we do, what is Tech Jobs Fair. So Tech Jobs Fair is a event which is like we are organizing tech events around the globe where we are connecting with many companies, candidates, and providing them a platform to connect with each other. Whereas candidates' profile being screened by our Higher Tech Talent platform, you will gonna soon have a session about what is Higher Tech Talent also in this webinar only. But yes, That is our own platform. So yes, coming to the point is Tech Jobs Fair screening the every candidate's your profile via high tech talent and connecting you with the companies who all are seeking for you, and this way providing you the next level of the I can say your career journey's next level. This also includes like this kind of webinar sessions where you will be meeting with the many experts from the particular country or city. Including this, we have today like Philip, who is an author, founder, mentor, and speaker as well as. Whereas, how can I forget our dear Catherine Ledius is also as an expert joining us today, along with Caroline is also there, Claudia and Eva. So, a couple of experts will be sharing their keynote, their expertise, and how you can get a growth in your career. So, their keynotes is gonna be very helpful. So, this is our aim, everybody, to get the I can say best career step for your career journey, along with the multiple job openings. So, this session is gonna be, as I just shared, full of information which might be helpful for you to get hired in Zurich, as well as how you can create your your profile on high tech talent. Along with that, how you can get your profile in front of the companies who are seeking for a candidates like you. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar today. We have a lot many attendees today, so I'm glad to see that many has shown their trust in Tech Job Fair and here today. Yes, welcome you all and thank you so much. And yes, Tripti, if anything I'm missing today, please let me know. But yes, I think I should add that you can also ask your queries also to us, and in our chat boxes also, same like just I ping Tripti. So same, you guys also feel free to write us in the chat session. And yes, do not forget to ask your queries to the speakers also, who all are experts. So your queries are really gonna help you as well as to us also to get the right path for you. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here. And yes.
Thank you so much, Bindu. It was really nice. And I think you have nicely given us a brief about how the webinar will go and what all we can expect in this webinar. So thank you again for your valuable time, Bindu.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tripti. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, guys, before I start the sessions and start welcoming all our speakers, I would like you to understand that our speakers will guide you on navigating the job market in Zurich and share many more valuable tips. Also note, when you are dropping your questions on the comment section after each session for each speaker, make sure you are addressing the speaker by tagging them on the comment when you're addressing the question, just in case if your questions get missed, they can always be answered by the speakers later. So don't forget to tag them and make sure all of your questions are coming to us through comment section. So don't forget to comment your questions. Well, now let's extend a warm welcome to our first speaker, Mr. Philip D. Angstman. He's a seasoned professional, personal branding expert with an MBA and certifications in marketing and yoga. Has conducted over 10,000 interviews worldwide. His mission is to craft authenticity, ignite careers, and embrace joy through simplicity. Passionate about speaking, learning, mindset, exploration, and sales, he helps individuals uncover their true calling with a blend of HR and marketing expertise. So, hi, Philip. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you very much, Tripti. Thank you very much for the introduction. Hi and welcome, everyone. So, I'm ready.
Great. So the stage is all yours, Philip, and let's go.
Let's go. Thank you very much. So, hi and welcome, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm thrilled to have your focus for the next 20 minutes. Today, I'll share you an intriguing connection between speed dating and job interviews. Let's dive right in. A recent study by Zurich University and Adecco revealed that the job market in Switzerland is becoming more competitive. As an employer, I'm eager to understand how our time spent together will benefit our organization. Therefore, generic profiles are no longer effective. Instead, focus on creating a specific and specialized niche, showcasing your unique value. This leads us right to the core to our today's topic, the dynamic power of positioning. Trippi already introduced me a little bit, so over the course of nearly 2 decades, I have conducted almost 10,000 interviews across cultures and continents. Today, I'm authoring a book titled Job Interview Masterclass, and I help people to position themselves for enthusiastic careers. My individual one-on-one coaching sessions include positioning, job interview, preparation, and potential unlocking. Additionally, I provide B2B HR trainings in recruitment. When it comes to job interviews, positioning allows you to set the atmosphere. Just fascinate me. And we engage in a dialogue instead of a classic validation interview talk. Simplicity is key here, meaning captivate me with your energy and authentic fascination for something you're pursuing. That's 80% of the battle. It doesn't necessarily have to be job related. As long as it fits your story, it's gonna work. To make it clear, positioning is not about putting on a show. First of all, you do not know what I'm really looking for. And secondly, I might test you on it. Just be authentic, be clear, be the words you say, be yourself. Think of positioning as dropping a pin on a map. And here you are. Positioning is a three-step process. First, we create data answering 3 crucial questions, and it is important to follow the order I'm going to show you. Tendentially, candidates often have unconsciously they jump more or less just to question number 3 unconsciously. This has some side effects as well. I'm gonna tell you later about it. So here we are with the question number 1. Who are you? This is about to understand your talents, your fascination, and your values. Questions that might help you here are, what comes easy for you? Meaning, doing what? You're always among the best without putting in a lot of efforts or energy. That's your natural talents and representing, of course, your can-do. Doing what makes you lose track of time? That is your fascination and your love doing. What can you teach me, or what can I learn from you, respectively? What do you want to put forward? There is your inspiration. What is important to you is referring to your personal standards and values. Now, it's a little bit tricky with this can do and love do. There is a small correlation. The love do side, so the green part here, that is but also connected to your talents, to your gifts. So what you're gifted with or what your talents are, that's automatically something you love doing because it comes from within you. And there, your motivation and attitude is always on the rise, and you're willing to raise as well. Often I have it like that people come up to me and say like, yeah, I'm actually doing what I can do and I'm able to, but nevertheless, more and more I feel like I'm happy it's 5 o'clock, or I'm tired of always catching up with latest tech, or all the colleagues that getting employed are all already much better than me, and I'm feeling like I'm running after them. And that's often because you actually are on the left side, where is my orange spot. You work in a field or with your doings in a section where your trained skills are working. So it's an adaptation of you. It's not what you really are. Here, it's like, even if you have change or whatsoever, it doesn't matter, because you're anyway willing to grow, so change is for you normal. A question that might help you also distinguish on which side you are is like, if you're afraid of change, you're on the left side. If change doesn't matter for you, whatever the company is doing, you're in for it because it's your thing, you're on the right side. Nevertheless, there is also people who apply for a job they are not really good at, and they are also not love doing it. And that makes about 20% of all applications, and they are on the bottom left side. So let's get to the next question. What do you want? This is about the definition. To define your goals, both career ones and personal ones. Why personal ones also matter? First of all, it's good for you to know what you want to reach. On the other hand side, there is also two factors that pay in applying for a job. One is, if I, as an employer, know your personal goals, I might design a package that helps you to reach it, or to do it, depending what it is. If you're a paraglider, you might be perhaps interested to have a 4-day week, for example. Yeah. And on the other hand side, your personal goals, especially if you can put it in a good relation with either the job you're applying with or with the company, so me as the employer, then you might have additional momentum in your introduction with your positioning. So there is a higher chance that your fascination jumps over to your audience. So questions that might help you here is obvious one: what is your goal? So what do you want to reach? There perhaps needs to know goals come in 3 types. It's one is money, learning or growing, and the third one is contribution to change. And also good to know, good goals either lead you to joy, to fulfillment, or to freedom, or all 3 of them. If this is not the case, rethink and maybe go back to question number 1. Third question is, who needs you and where? Often candidates, as I mentioned before, they see their job ad and think like, who? This might be me. Let's just get ready my CV, adapt it a little bit, hand it in, and let's wait. I have here a different approach. My approach is about choosing. That's also different energy. If you choose, your energy is a different one, then it's like just like try and hope. As I said now, here it's about choosing. And questions that might help you here is the problems you solve. Who benefits from your solutions and services? Or who is interested in the services you provide? Or who values your contributions? With whom do you want to work? What kind of people? Who has your money? Especially if you're a freelancer or an entrepreneur, it's important to know who has your money. Then, if you have these 3 data sets, you're able to create your positioning. Let's summarize up again what we have. We have, so set number 1, who you are, your talents, and your values. You have set number 2 representing your goals, and we have set number 3 representing your market and your target group. And out of these, we can now create the magic sweet spot of your positioning. There is your added value, there is your energy, and there is your fascination. Now, the question is, if you have this, what to do with it? Somehow it needs to become communicatable. You need to have a text. So step number 3 is the application of this data to bring it into something we can communicate. And here is the $1 million template. I help, so the target group, you have question number 3, to solve something you're doing with your talents and achieve what is the benefit from, or might be a benefit for the company, and which you do with what you offer, what is your added value, what is your niche. And with niches, it doesn't matter what kind of jobs you are. We can just take now a very trivial example. For example, grilled chicken. Some create the niche of the most golden, others the most juicy, again, and others the most crusty ones. So there is always something what you can add and say, this is me and this is my specialty, or this makes me special. And not to forget the personal goals, as I said before, because you can make impact, and it leads to an opener also for a open dialogue, and not like going into a normal validation talk, what often job interviews are, minimum in the first round. So let's put it into an example. I help forward-thinking tech teams to solve complex challenges in web development and cloud integration and achieve innovative solutions, which I do with my expertise in full-stack development, clean code practices, and problem solving. Additionally, my long-term goal is to contribute to advancements in quantum computing, bridging the gap between theory and practical applications. This you cannot only use as the introduction when you're asked, when people in the interview introduce themselves and then they give you the ball and say, now it's about you, who are you? Then you can bring this one and you land most of the time actually in a different, totally different interview. With this, you really set the atmosphere. You land in a different interview as if you just say something from your CV or what you did the last few years or so. Actually, most of the time, no one cares, especially not in tech. And I did the last few years almost 80% only tech recruitment. So this you also can use if you are in a networking environment, or do we say at a fair? Or also if you invited to a birthday party where you know no one and someone comes up and says, hey, who are you? What are you doing? And you come up with something like that. The other person either creates interest and asks you a question, or says, oh, cool, I'm into this or that. And you start a interesting discussion, or even something that leads to opportunities or possibilities. And so actually, as you can imagine, kind of like we're sitting together in a train from, do we say, Zurich to Geneva. You're sitting opposite to me, we start to talk, we get to know each other a little bit, and then more and more we're going into something more specific, more interesting, and find out how can we benefit from each other, or how could we work together or collaborate or whatsoever. This is what is more or less all about positioning, and that's, from my point of view, the best way to do it. So now let's summarize up what we got. I especially want you to memorize this sketch, B, what is understandable, what is clear, what for I can benefit if I hire you. Be authentic, be who you are, be yourself. Teach the broad spectrum generic profile. And for those of you who might think now, okay, maybe he forgot there is not only people in HR, there is robots, there is AI, there is whatever kind of automatized filters, there needs to be my buzzwords. Yes and no. Yes, for example, if you might think, if they are making themselves clear, I want someone who knows Java, do we say, if it's about the development job, and you have JE in your CV, okay, why not to add that? It's no big deal. But if you are a happy developer and they are looking for someone who is also doing requirements engineering, and now because you just want this job, adapt it and think, where did I also do some requirements engineering, and start to put in things to your CV that is actually not you, makes no sense. Also not if demand is going a little bit down, and just put in a lot of buzzwords that you might get a bigger universe of opportunities, makes no sense. In the end, it's like you start this job, and after a short period of time, you think like, what I'm actually doing here, or you telling me, I started there, but my new boss, my colleagues, or the tech stack, the procedures, or sometimes even the canteen food or the commuting. A lot of excuses put on external factors just because of not doing enough good question 1 and question 2. So be clear and authentic about who you are and what you want. Build your CV around your positioning, emphasizing success and achievements that pay into it. So not the other way around, not building in around the job ad. And choose a job and company that helps you to reach your goals. And also remember, you cannot know what an employer is really looking for. As we wrap up today's discussion, let me leave you with a twist. Job interviews aren't so different from speed dating. Just as in speed dating, success hinges on one critical factor: positioning. Your energy and your attitude decides whether I want more and see you again. Whatever you're in for, say so. Authenticity wins. This is it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. Feel free to connect with my new LinkedIn. Are there any questions, Tripti?
Hi. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation and a very good start to the webinar, I guess, right? We do not have any questions so far, but we can be here for a minute to, just let people sink in the presentation, and then if they have any questions, guys, please feel free to comment your questions here. And just in case you're watching it a little later, you can always tag the speaker and then mention your questions for getting a high chances of getting responded. So
I'm available, also available. I have on my website the 15 minutes for free with me option as well. If it's a more complex question, feel free to contact me in any way, either on the LinkedIn and comments, or directly with a direct message on LinkedIn or the webpage.
Yeah, I see a question here, Philip, so I have just listed it for you here.
So recruiter meaning now one for a specific company, or recruiter regarding in agencies. So agencies, it's more or less easy. You find them depending. There is a lot that are specific for the branch or for a sector. That's better than to go with the very big ones. So I'm now not telling here any names, but the very big ones, they are doing everything. I would not choose these ones. I would choose specific ones. If you're a software guy, take those who are only in software. If you're in engineering, take those who are doing only engineering. If the recruiter is one that works for a company, there, at the moment, it's not so common to do direct wild applications. There it's more like if you know someone within the company, deposit your CV this way and not coming from outside, because there often it gets lost.
And there's one more here which says how easy it is to find relocation opportunities in Zurich.
That depends a lot. If you come and have a contract, then the company normally looks for that you also get a working permit. Then it's more or less easy. Then it's more like if it's Zurich to find an apartment. When you are within Schengen, also no problem. Then you just come and look for a job because you have the work permit given. That's two things. To get a work permit, some companies have contingents. They are faster. And otherwise, it takes about 3 months to get a work permit when you have a contract. Other possibility is, for example, if you're becoming a student with ETH, there is a network. There is also people who guide exactly for foreign students the opportunity how to get a work permit here and what to do with your ETH diploma and stay in Switzerland.
Great. Thank you so much, Philip. I think we have a few more questions in there, but you can always check them out, by yourself. And guys, don't worry. He will be answering all of you. So later by the comment itself. But for now, thank you so much for joining us today, Philip. It was really, really amazing having you. And thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much for having me. And I wish everyone a good fair and good success with insights you're going to get from the speakers coming up now.
Thank you so much, Philip. Well, that was our first session of the webinar. Now, moving forward, I am very excited to introduce our next speaker, Miss Catherine Leda. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tripti.
Hello. So she's a certified NLP and RSCI coach, brings 17 plus years in life science, strategic planning, and marketing. With a strategic spin, she empowers career through mindset focus, team management, and practical steps. A visionary, networker, and a passionate career coach, I think. So thank you so much for joining us today, Catherine. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And yeah, I think the stage is all yours now.
Thank you. Thank you. So I prepared a short presentation, but I think we're going to touch on some key elements. So yes. Okay. So we have the presentation. Without circling everything around me, there's like just 2 points I wanted to talk about, because if you've probably heard, I've been 17 years in the pharmaceutical industry before launching into job search coaching. So I do have quite an interest in supporting tech candidates, tech professionals, because I am also from a tech background, as I'm actually a biochemist. And the reason why I'm saying this is that I think that, especially in tech jobs, sometimes we feel like, we're very limited, like we want to explore outside, and we have the impression that we're a bit limited in the box of our profile. And what I want to give as a perspective here is that there are a lot of strategies about how you manage your career that can help you grow, that can help you expand your horizons, that can help you reach roles or fields that you may not have thought possible. Yeah. So today I do job search coaching, and besides those who've had the intro where I actually mention that I am academically a biochemist, that I was in pharma before, you would be hard pressed to actually find people who even know me as a scientific. Yeah. So all of this to say that with the right strategy, there are many more things that you can achieve than you probably think are possible. And the other important message that I want to convey to you, which is pretty much like my leitmotif in job searching, because I know that the job search market can be very challenging, that it takes a lot of motivation, a lot of determination, that it can be sometimes very frustrating. So my key message is, if what you're doing in your job search is not working, don't question yourself. Question your strategy. Yeah. And here is what I'm going to talk about today, because what's happening is that the job search market is changing so quickly. So yes, like a couple of years ago, we had COVID, and then we expected COVID to disrupt the market. Yeah. To make the market a bit more challenging, because a lot of people actually lost their job at the time. But it's so much more than that. That has basically just unlocked a whole series of disruptors. And if you're not taking those disruptors into account in how you pivot your strategy to succeed, despite how the recruitment market landscape is changing, then you will waste a lot of time sending out applications that won't succeed. Yeah, so there might be a couple of topics that are going to overlap with what Philip has already presented before, but overall, my focus is not to discourage you with the challenges of the market. It's really just face them as in like, okay, this is a situation, then I want to give you tools, suggestions of how to actually pivot your strategy so you can succeed despite those challenges. Yeah. So the first thing that you have to keep in mind, I see this very often, people are applying for jobs, they're looking at the job description, and they're like, why is it that I haven't been called for an interview? Like, I'm perfectly matching the job. Yeah. What is happening now is that after COVID, there's been, or during the lockdown, basically, that's where it started, is that there has been a huge shift towards towards LinkedIn, hanging out professionally and socially online. LinkedIn has seen like a huge boost. And as a result, whenever a company is actually posting a job, they get what I call literally like a tsunami of applications. Yeah. And there are other factors that are playing into this. Like, of course, people who are unemployed in Switzerland, they have quotas of applications. So that increases the rates of applications. You have post-COVID a lot of jobs that are now that have now options to be remote or in office. A lot of companies also cross-post the different jobs across different cities where they have offices. And this massively increases the number of candidates, right? So this is one of the things that you have to take into account, is that the market is highly competitive. And so you need to adapt your strategy accordingly. Yeah. How do we do this? What happens when the market is competitive? The first thing is, when you apply for the job and you build your CV, you present yourself based on your qualifications, you put yourself at the same level as everyone else who's competing for the job. Yeah. So the key element, the most important, if you ask me, the most important element of a sound job search strategy and career management in general is your brand, is to get clear about what it is that you bring to the table. It's taking ownership of showcasing to companies what makes you different and how this will help you add more value into the position, into the role. Yeah. Now, this is one thing, but and of course you can put this information into the resume. For me, the hallmark of a resume of a good resume is a resume that efficiently conveys the brand, conveys what sets you apart, how you add value. But there's another recruitment bottleneck, which is the infamous ATS, which is basically when you apply online. What do companies do as a response to this tsunami of application? Like logically, when they receive hundreds of applications, it's very difficult for companies to manage, for companies to sort through those applications. As a result, there's a big shift of focus in the recruitment process, not so much to screen in, but rather to screen out people. Like, how can we reduce the number of applications that we're going to manage, that we're going to consider, that we're going to interview, and so on. Yeah, and so you have the ATS, like the software that's receiving the application, that's allowing companies to kind of basically compare the candidates, compare what the candidates bring to the table, and streamline, narrow down the pool of candidates, the pool of CVs that they will actually be looking into. Yeah. So what happens here is that when you have hundreds of job applicants and only a couple of people will be interviewed, it lowers massively the response rate. Yeah. So pretty much independent of how good your profile is, because the competition is so fierce, your likelihood to get to an interview is approximately 1 to 2%. Yeah. So it's a numbers game. Yeah, you can keep sending applications, but it's likely to take you a lot of energy for very, very, very little results. Yeah, and it's going to make you doubt yourself, because of course, rejection after rejection is not really encouraging. Yeah, so probably one of the most important element that you have to start implementing now in your career is to diversify. You cannot only rely on online job postings. Yeah. Another thing that's important to keep in mind is that very often companies will have certain rules internally, that they cannot decide for an internal candidate without benchmarking with candidates that are available on the external market. And that means that even if you apply for a job online, there's no saying that there's not already a preferred candidate in the pipeline. Yeah. So not only is there more competition, but it's also likely that those jobs may not actually be as available as they seem to be. Yeah. So here, what's really important is that so you diversify your approach and you focus on incorporating networking into your job search. Yeah. So Philip earlier mentioned that you can make spontaneous applications by, for example, using the people you know in the company to relay your CV into the company. So yes, of course, this is something that you can do, but I recommend looking at networking with the goal of generating job leads. Yeah. So it's not about referrals, because the Swiss market is not always very keen on referrals. Like the referral in general is done when you can fully endorse a person professionally. So if it's a new connection, if it's a person you've never worked with, you might actually put them in a tricky situation if you ask them to endorse you. Yeah. So this is not necessarily working across the board when you network. Yeah. So I like to think of the networking as introducing yourself to people so they know what you do, they know what kind of position you would be a good fit for and why. Of course, that's the branding part. But from that point, what you ask the network to do to support you is to be your eyes and ears in their companies for when job openings, the jobs open up, so that you can get into the race much earlier and have a better chance to be seen by the hiring manager. So this is very, very, very important. One of the other things that you have to take into account is that as a reaction to this kind of tsunami of job applicants, that companies start looking at different approaches to recruit. So they will, for example, go through recruiters, go through or recruitment agencies, go through headhunters. There is also something that is called active sourcing, whereby the company's HR function is actually proactively looking at the candidates available on the market or who is basically standing out in their field. So they're doing a bit like what recruiters and headhunters are doing, but inside the company. And this may look like it's highly time consuming to fill in a position, but if you compare doing this to sorting through like 300-400 CVs, you actually realize that it is very often a more efficient approach for companies. Yeah, so this means that there's a lot of focus still on the online applications, because it makes us feel like concretely you're applying for a job that's actually open, versus when you do networking, it's a bit random. You never know really when a position is going to open up, how long it's going to take, etc. Okay, so it feels more counterintuitive, but it's actually like, if you ask around, if you look at your career, this is how people land jobs. Yeah, so this is really super important component of your strategy, is to make sure that you expand your network. Make sure that your network is what I call activated. And by activated, I mean that they know that you're job searching, they know what you're looking for, they know why you would be a good candidate for those roles, and they know how to support you. Yeah, and when you give them this kind of like action point of, here's how you can help me, make it low commitment, low time investment for them. Yeah, so you have to boil it down to how can they best support me, but making this not such a big ask that people will be reluctant to do it. Yeah, so the referrals, the endorsements, if you're not really well connected to the person, if you don't know the person well, my recommendation is don't go there, because it's much more likely that they will be uncomfortable supporting you compared to asking something smaller, getting the ball back in your court, and then taking the lead and applying with the company. Yeah. So this is one of the elements, and as part of this multi-channel job search strategy, there's also another element which we've mentioned is a massive disruptor, but also a key opportunity for job hunters, and this is LinkedIn. So yes, LinkedIn is now bringing a huge traffic of applicants on each job opening, but LinkedIn has also evolved. Yeah, it was always the strategy of LinkedIn to become a hangout social media platform, the same way as Instagram or Facebook, etc. Yeah, and this kind of like people moving towards LinkedIn during COVID has basically kind of propelled the platform into what they intended to make it. Yeah. So my recommendation, because very often when we talk about LinkedIn, we focus on LinkedIn the way it used to be used. Yeah. So basically LinkedIn as we focus on optimizing the profile, implementing keywords in there so we're searchable, etc. But this is only one dimension of LinkedIn. Yeah. So this is a bit like a company building building a website. But of course, if your website doesn't have any visibility, if it doesn't have any traffic, you will not be able to make sales. Your company will not be successful. Yeah. So you have to have a much broader look and approach with regards to LinkedIn. Yeah, so it's the profile optimization, but how you interact with people on LinkedIn is like a conference. It's conversations. It's a chance for you to shine, to get people to know you, to start building the trust into your competences, etc. And then when you do your networking, for those people in your companies of interest that can be your eyes and ears for job leads, if you meet them up and it takes a couple of weeks or even months before a job opens in their company, the likelihood is they will forget about you. Yeah. So LinkedIn is your tool to have those regular small interactions just to keep yourself on top of mind of people. And as you have those interactions, what's really important to know is that each time a person is exposed to your posts, your comments, they form an opinion of you. They get to know you. And this is the basically like less leveraged opportunity on LinkedIn. Yeah, so I really encourage you to go beyond the profile optimization, to take into account that LinkedIn is a two-dimensional platform. Your visibility, your searchability, your attractiveness on LinkedIn is not just dependent on the profile optimization. It's depending on the algorithm, how many people will see you. And this is function of your usage of the platform and how the brand builds over time, iteration after iteration, or exposure after exposure, is a function of your your exchanges, the relationships you build, and how people get to know you through the platform. Yeah. So what I'd like to leave you with as a kind of like two key changes in the job search market, yeah, that you absolutely have to take into account. Yeah, it's two massive kind of switches. Yeah, so a lot of times when people approach me for their job search, they focus on the CV. Yeah, I think the CV is really important. It's important that you get to know yourself, that you use this conversation around the CV optimization to uncover achievements, to get ready, to kind of talk about your experience, achievements, strengths, etc. during the interview. But the CV alone is also like a website. That alone won't get you in front of an interviewer. Yeah, in the past we used to apply, get invited to an interview, and get a chance to kind of convince the person about us as a candidate. Yeah. Today, there's an extra step, is that you have to put yourself in front of people so that they get convinced about you in order to have the opportunity to get asked for an interview. Yeah, so there's an extra step because that online application, the response rate is too low there. And LinkedIn is your platform to do this. Yeah, another way of looking at this kind of massive disruption and this kind of like really switch in terms of how things are done is if you think of LinkedIn as a conference. Yeah, I like to think of LinkedIn as a conference. I think it makes it really easy to understand how to use the platform. Yeah, so in my day and age, we didn't have LinkedIn. Yeah, we're barely in the beginnings of the internet. So we only had in-person conferences, yeah? And there you had to be already recognized as an expert in your field in order to be invited as a speaker at a conference, yeah? But today, thanks to LinkedIn, this has actually reversed. So instead of being an expert first in order to be put on a stage, LinkedIn is your opportunity to create those stage situation step by step, increment by increment, so that people can get to know you. And through this, you can actually establish the credibility of your professional skills, expertise, etc. Yeah. So, and here I want to be clear. What I mean by this is not necessarily that everyone becomes an influencer on LinkedIn. This is not achievable. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I just need a bit of water. Okay, sorry about that. So it's not for everyone to become an influencer, but it's really go well beyond that kind of profile optimization to have conversations the same way you would meet people if you were live at a conference and would have a conversation with them, and then they would get to know you. Yeah, so use the platform so that people can get to know you, so that you create not just connections, but build the relationship, build the brand, build your reputation, build your credibility as you build those relationships. And you will see that this is super powerful, because not only is this going to help you in your job search, but what you will build are what I call career assets. So your brand, your visibility, your network, but also, and most importantly, the credibility and the trust into your profile. And this is what will allow you over time, now for your job search, but also throughout your career, to kind of go further, have many more doors open up for you, or more facility into opening up those doors. Yeah. So just before wrapping up, I've included two QR codes here. So as you can see on the left one, there's a job search webinar, which basically goes into a lot more details about what I've just kind of very, very quickly summarized today. So if you're interested, it's a free on-demand webinar. So you can use the QR code to listen in. There's one version that's specific to the Swiss market, and there's another one. They have the same framework, but one of them, I go a bit deeper into the particularities of the Swiss market, because the Swiss market is a kind of a bit of a more challenging one, because it's a bit more competitive. And then on the right, if you want to connect, you're more than welcome to do so. So feel free to feel free to send me a connection invite, and you can have a look through my profile as I share a lot of resources. And in the meantime, I can have a look at the questions that were put in the comment box. Or Tripti, if you've extracted a couple of questions, I'll be happy to answer them now or to go into the chat afterwards. Tripti, I'm not sure if it's me, but I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Welcome back.
There's already a question here, so I've just put it out for you.
Yeah, so regarding the headhunters, in my experience, what I see on the market is that companies are diverting, as I said, from simply putting the jobs online because the tsunami is too big, yeah? So headhunters, yes, they go through the active sourcing, as I've said as well. They will go also through different steps. So posting the jobs internally for internal candidates, then for the network of the internal candidates, which is where I suggest to try to get in. Yeah. And then as a third step, they will go kind of externally broad spectrum. Yeah. So your best strategy is to kind of get into the door like as soon as possible. Yeah. For headhunters, what I would say is yes, companies use the headhunters, but it depends on the type of functions. It depends on the seniority of the functions. But in general, the more technical it is, the more they will go from their generalist HR towards headhunters or recruiters. And then the more senior the positions, the more likely it is to go to towards recruiters and headhunters. Yeah. So if you're in a very technical field, then and you're likely to be basically recruited through agencies or recruiter, then it becomes even more important to make yourself visible on LinkedIn, because this is how they'll be able to find you. Yeah. And then I see the next question. Does the strategy apply to... Oh, yes, this is actually a good question. And there was a similar question earlier to Philip about, like, you know, applying from outside of Switzerland. So what happens with those kind of online application systems, that when you have too many candidates, what you try to do is to eliminate candidates. Yeah. So this means that there's a lot of things that will make you fall off more easily. And very often, one of the screen out criteria that is used by companies is whether you're actually already based in Switzerland or not. Yeah. So if you apply online and you're not a Swiss resident, if you don't have a residence permit, it is very likely that you would be flat out excluded. Why? It's easy to think about it. If you have very high competition, if you have a lot of candidates on the market, companies will go for the simplest, safest route, which is hire someone that's already on site, that doesn't need the administrative workload and cost of being relocated. And also, typically in Switzerland, companies tend to be a bit risk averse. So hiring someone from outside is always a bit of a higher risk, because you don't know if they're going to fit well into the culture. They don't have the local language the majority of the time. So all of those things, if you apply online, I'm not saying it's not impossible, by the way, just to make sure. I'm not saying it's not possible. What I'm saying is, if you want to achieve this, you absolutely need to narrow down your reliance on online applications and focus on all the other channels. Yeah, because with online applications, as soon as you have something unusual, can be a career break, you don't have the language, you're located abroad, you've been zigzagging in your career, all those things, they make you much, much more likely to just fall off.
Great. So thank you so much, Catherine. I think
Pleasure.
Your expertise were highly valuable, and thank you so much for providing guidance for job search challenges. And I'm pretty sure it has been helpful for our audience here. But guys, if you have more questions for Catherine, like I mentioned before, you can make sure you can tag her and then drop your questions so that she can reply to you, because she'll know which question would be for her. So yeah, once again, thank you for joining us today, Catherine. It was a pleasure having you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Tripti.
Bye-bye. Well, now I would love to extend a warm welcome to Miss Claudia Bros Quatre. So, hi Claudia, are you there?
Hi Tripti, how's it going?
All good. So, Claudia is a career coach and a key account manager in open source software. She mentors female execs. With a political science background, she moved to Switzerland 8 years ago, championing gender equity in male dominated spaces. So, advocating for her fair payment, promotions, and recognition for women, she turns challenges into possibilities. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Claudia, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. And also thank you to the co-hosts that have been there. I think there has been great examples of what you can do in order to be hired or when you're hired. So this presentation actually, or what we're going to talk about in the next couple of minutes, is really going to come full circle as to what do you do before you get to the interviews. I do understand that the audience here is a little bit mixed. So we have people that are graduates, we have people that are just about to enter the job market in Switzerland, and we have some seasoned professionals. So it's going to be a refresher for some and also a kind of a deep dive for others. Now, with that being said, you see the little table over there with different recipes. We're going to cover what is it that you're going to ask during job interviews. So there are three things that we're going to cover in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to give you three questions that you must ask in any interview, right? Then two strategies that you need so that you can stand out from the crowd, and also one way to leverage your network for interviews. Now, let's dive in, as in what is the issue that I've seen on the job market, or the things that really especially do not help women specifically, because that's where my expertise lies. And there are three issues, key issues, as I'm advocating for women entering more into the tech world, and especially into the Swiss job market. And I'll give you also context as to why I specifically have a heart there and have a mission there, because I also came into the Swiss job market from a complete different background, right? I am from Germany, or I was raised in Germany. I'm obviously from an African country, so I'm from Ghana, and I have a political science background. So I do not have the tech background. So all of these different layers, you go like, okay, how do you even enter or end up in tech for the past 10 plus years, right? With all of the different insecurities that come, imposter syndrome, especially I've been coaching lots of women that reveal that there's imposter syndrome that comes up for them, the feeling of not belonging to the room, and then unable really to express your achievements, right? These are the things that we're going to cover. Now, the first thing that I want you to get into your head is that when you go for interviews, right, there's a mindset shift that needs to happen in your head. And that this is the place, once you have it, this is the place for you to shine. You were chosen to come into the interview. So whatever it is that you're going to talk about, that you're going to present towards the interviewer, it's not bragging, right, if your achievements are based on real results, right? And also, another thing that you need to shift in your mind is that do not compare your experiences to someone else's experiences, meaning especially those that have an international background. Do not compare it or dismiss the experiences that you have currently with someone that has been on the field for a longer time. Your experiences are rich in a different way. All it takes, and that's what we're going to cover, is tweaking these experiences in a way that is so that they will be appealing towards employers. Now, who am I? Quick introduction to me, and I'm also happy to kind of be introduced to you and connect with you on LinkedIn. You can use your phones right now and quickly get on the QR code. My name is Claudia Briscorte. I'm a key account manager and a career coach for moms in tech. I've been in tech industry for the past 10 plus years. I've been a youth mentor for the past 10 plus years. And I'm really here to help you win your interviews and get more of the confidence that it takes to go into these interviews and really nail your narrative as you have a one-to-one conversation. Because if interviews is one thing, and that's a key thing that you can take, it's going to be a one one-on-one conversation between you and a company to understand whether or not your skills are the right ones for the company, but also whether or not this company that you're interviewing with aligns with your values, aligns with your professional growth, aligns with where you want to go. Now, as mentioned, you are interviewing the company on whether or not they are the right fit, right? So there are three buckets, as I call them. There is the culture, first of all. Is this the right culture? I'm not just talking about, the obvious culture with regards to heritage, but really as a company culture that has evolved. Do you really, if you are a person that is rather quiet and loves a quiet place, with a fast-paced startup, for example, be the right culture for you to be in, right? Does it align personally with you? Does it align professionally with you? These are the three buckets, right, that you have to assess before you walk into any interview and into any company. Now, I promised you, I'm going to give you really some tangible techniques that you can walk out with right away, as in the three top questions you need to be asking and probing interviewers, meaning hiring managers, recruiters, meaning people that you meet along the way in the interview process. And number one question that I see great results with the people that I coach, and also from personal experiences, take a look inward. At the end of the day, you are going into a company because you understand you have something to offer. But in order to understand whether or not what you have to offer is valuable, you need to understand where the company is going and how the company will be assessing the success of the role that you're currently applying for. So the question number one that you could ask is this: fast forward a year from now, what would need to happen for you to consider this hire a success? If you are hiring for a project management position, an account management position, you want to understand what are the key KPIs. A second question that you can be asking is the following, is that, in your opinion, what would be the biggest challenge to getting these results? Once they've shared with you where the company is trying to go and what they're trying to do, it's primordial important that you understand, well, what are the challenges actually in the way, right? These answers reveal the company goals, they reveal the challenges in the way, and it's your chance to uniquely position yourself as the right solution over there. A bonus questions that I get asked also a lot, having talked to recruiters, but also going into interviews myself on a regular basis, and having had great feedback also from the question, is the following: what are key challenges and priorities your team or your department is currently facing? And then on top of that, how is the role that you are currently interviewing for contributing towards addressing these challenges? We should not forget that when we go into an interview, or when there is a job opening, there is a challenge at hand in these organizations. And the role that you are applying for is in some way, shape, or form contributing to overcoming that challenge. Your job is to define what that is and how your value, the value that you could be providing, will help addressing these challenges, right? And as a bonus, what it does also is that it really shows the other side your interest in understanding, the impact that your contribution would have on the overall success of the organization. And from a recruiter, I have the perspective that there's one recruiter who said, it really helps me as a recruiter understand what is the candidate's commitment towards staying in the company also over the long term, right? Now, a third question, or last question, is also, what does a typical path to career growth looks like for you in the role? You want to understand, well, and that is why it's so important to have your standards and your values in the three buckets that we initially discussed, right? To have it clear and center. Now, how do people get promoted in this organization? What's the path towards promotion looking like? And can you give us specific examples, right, in that role? this also shows really long-term commitment. It will show your ambition, and it gives you as a candidate great opportunities and insight as to what are performance expectations. Do you come with these skills already? Is it something that you have to learn along the way? Is it something that you have to develop over time, right? This gives you great insights into these areas of the career. Now, I promised you also 2 strategies. Now, what's the first strategy that you can put in, right, when you go into these interviews, as in how do you really stand out? And the classic that you know is that, you will summarize what you've heard, you showcase your experience in the areas, right? And you tell the recruiter or the hiring manager on the panel team, how you have solved these challenges in the past. And that is all good. But we've heard also from our colleagues, Philip and Catherine, the job market is not what it was 3-4 years ago. It's become more and more competitive. So it takes candidates another skill set to really stand out and stay memorable towards the panel organization or the target organization that you're applying for. Because let's position it again. You are not just competing, right, against a pool of external candidates. You're also competing against internal candidates. And then let's not forget there are also internal priorities within the organization, right? That will or will not lead towards you being hired, or this position actually being hired, or it completely being frozen out. So here comes the rock star, right? Or let's say the star interview method. Maybe some of you have already heard that. It's one of many frameworks. I want to preface that. It's one of many frameworks, but it's one of the frameworks that is very easy to digest. And I think one of the frameworks that is also most successful. And it goes like that. STAR stands for situation. You give context, task, the responsibility at hand when you were in a specific role in the past, actions, what did you do, specifically you, and then results. What's the outcome? And this is where I see many candidates do most of the mistakes, as in leaving out the results of the activities they have led in the past. Again, you want to stand out, this is what you need to do. Now, what can you say? And I'm giving you a specific example going through the STAR interview method, right? And for those, in the end, if you connect with me, I'm happy also to share, parts of these presentations, especially the STAR interview method, or you can just Google it, right? For those that are really interested in it. Now, let's take a specific example. If you were an IT manager with 3+ years experience, right? Within the interview, if the question comes up, tell me about yourself, right? Or tell me about what you've been doing in the past 3 years. This is how it can go. As in, you position the situation in context, right? Over the last year, I've led a team to launch a mobile app, right? And the task that I had was that my task was to really make sure that the app was developed in time and in budget. Most importantly, that the users of this app would be satisfied, meeting their needs, and that I was responsible for the entire development cycle. Now, actions. What did you do specifically, right? What did you create specifically? Specifically in this case, you created a detailed project plan, right? With timelines, different stakeholders, and really making sure that everyone was always on par with what is happening. And the results, and that's what most people leave out, right? Because you could end there. But one thing you should always asking yourself should be the question, so what? And so what brings the results? The results were we launched a mobile app. I was responsible. I was spearheading it within 3 months ahead of schedule. And we increased really the customer engagement on our end, and also received a 5-star rating on the App Store. That's one very specific example of how you can use the STAR method. If you were to put yourself inside, you can use this framework to really assess your achievements, your accomplishments, and your results, right? It's pretty straightforward. Now, as a bonus, going into it, we've covered 3 questions, 2 strategies. I would love to leave you with one way to leverage your network. And Catherine has also given already great insights that we need to diversify really our job search and getting in front of hiring managers and decision makers. And the best way is really to leverage your network. Now, how can you do that? A very simple way. The best way is to create a network map. And the network map can be as sophisticated or as simple as you want to have it. To give you a clear example is if you were to take your entire network and put it into two buckets. One bucket would be an informal network. The second bucket would be a professional network. The informal network will be placed with people that are maybe former friends, former people that you know, former acquaintances, right? People that you know loosely, could be also colleagues. The professional networks is really colleagues that you know right now, right? People that you have worked with on different projects, on different tasks, people that maybe you have also been at university with, right? All of these formulate your network. And it is important not just to build that network, but to leverage that network, right? It is not just asking, how will I get to this job, but really who will be able to get me into the next position. Leveraging your network in a way, especially in Switzerland, that is nurturing over the long term is key. Because if somebody is going to put their own, stamp on your name and favoring you into their organization, they want to be comfortable that you are going to represent them in the best way possible. So that is why it's important to continuing to nurture, this network that you have. I want to thank you so much for your time today. And I'm also very open towards any type of questions that you have. There's a bonus that I want to leave you with is that anyone that's going to connect with me and DMs Tech Hire or Tech Job Fair, I would love to extend like a 15 minutes quick interview prep sessions with you. So connect with me on LinkedIn, DM the word Tech Fair, Top Tech Fair, or just this one here, and I'm happy to extend that with you. Thank you so much. Are there any questions that we have in the audience?
Thank you so much, Claudia, first off, for your lovely presentation and taking us through the process that, we can highlight during the interview. So yeah, thank you once again. And we'll just take a minute or two. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the comment section. Till then, Claudia, if you have anything from your end to, leave like a final tip from your end to our viewers, what would that be?
So a final tip that I would leave towards you is really at all times and every time have what I call a brag book ready. That is a book that you keep, a personal book, a repertoire of all your accomplishments and all your achievements, right? Think of all the certificates that you've done, all the projects that you have done, all the different accomplishments and feedback that you have received, right? All of this is valuable. Keep it as a book that you update regularly, because whenever you are presented with an interview situation, there will be the dreaded question, tell me about yourself. Who are you? What can we expect of you? If you're able to keep that book, you will have front and center. And we just saw the STAR interview method, right? You have front and center all of the different accomplishments that you have, the type of value that you can present to a company and organization, and have a proper conversation as to whether or not this is the right fit.
Amazing. So I think there was already a question here. So they probably wanted to check if they have to be in Zurich already to, go through this interview process or.
Yeah, that's a very great question. And I would say it depends. For me personally, I was not in Zurich when I was hired, right? I was still living in France at that point in time when I applied. But then again, that's a rather long time ago. If you have very specific skills, for example, right? I mean, right now, software development skills are front and center. Anything cloud related, cloud engineering skills, AI skills are front and center. And these are specialized skills that are still very, very much high in demand. My take on this, or the advice I would give, is that LinkedIn is really an open book, a golden tool. Connect with as many recruiters, hiring organizations that you can find on LinkedIn for the target, I mean, really for the target organizations that you are interested in, and formulate a first conversation to understand where this is going, where they want to be, right? And during that conversation, you pretty much find out whether or not they want you as a candidate, and then reveal, well, you know, you are not currently in the country. Like, what's that hiring process going to be? Of course, it always makes things way more easier when you're ready in the country, definitely, right? But again, if you have specialized skills, if you formulate the right relationships with those hiring managers, targeted towards the companies and organizations you want to work with, target your value, target what you bring to the table, there should be no issues as to why you could not be hired if you're not currently in Zurich.
Great. So, Claudia, you can go and check the other comments later, at the event page. But thank you again so much for joining us today and taking us through your amazing presentation and giving so much valuable tips to our viewers. It was a pleasure having you with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, guys, don't go anywhere because we have a few more sessions lined up for you. And now, join me in extending a warm welcome to Miss Eva Botai. She is an entrepreneur, a leader, and a mentor who aids European professionals in achieving career and business success. With 20 plus years in global banking leadership, she excels in problem solving and team development. Armed with an MBA and certification, she offers personalized mentoring and signature programs. Additionally, she mentors and advises in various organizations, facilitating integration into the Swiss job market. Hi, Eva. How are you?
Hey, Tripti. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. I'm blushing already. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I wouldn't take much of your time, so over to you, Eva.
Okay, I don't know, how do I open the presentation? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, really, Claudia had amazing slides. My slides are not going to be as beautiful as Claudia's slides because she's in tech. I was a banker in my previous life before I became a career strategist. So my slides are not as beautiful, but hopefully at least as useful. So there's a very important quote I would like to start today with. We don't get what we want, we get what we think we can. And I'm not going to go too deep into this mindset thing, but it's really important that you guys understand, everybody understands the value you bring. And based on the value you bring to the market, you know that you can do more, you can get more, you can get better. So I don't know what the other speakers talked about. There are three very important elements in getting the next job or getting a job: is knowing what you want, knowing where you are, and then how do you get there. And in this how do you get there, it is also very important to understand where is it where you want to get, and what are the specifics, what are the trends, what are the characteristics of that place you want to get. So this is what I want to talk about to you today. About me, a few words. I was a banker in a previous life, 20 years of banking. And today, I started my own business about 7-8 years ago. And I worked in the European job markets. I worked in the Netherlands. I worked in Germany. I now am 15 years in Switzerland. And this is what I do today since 8 years. And I'm constantly in discussion with HRs, with recruiters, especially in these markets. I'm also working as an external mentor with the Swiss Unemployment Agency. I've been unemployed myself twice on the Swiss job market, so I know exactly what it feels like looking for a job. I went through burnout and And I learned a lot. So the last 8 years, I invested a lot of money, my knowledge, all my leadership experiences, 20 years of leadership experiences, to shape what I'm offering today, what I'm talking about today. Also my clients, the way I help today my clients to grow their careers and to get the job they want. Since 2017, I have a success rate of 95%, meaning 95% of the people I work with get the job they want, and 65% of them get it 2-3 times faster than the Swiss job market. And I'm going to talk about that because the Swiss job market is very, very specific. I'm coming from the business side. I've never been in HR. I've always been in hardcore business. I was a banker for large corporates, doing and helping them with their banking needs from actually globally. So what I understand, and I've also been hiring and unfortunately also laying off people. So I understand that the business needs to understand the value. And this is also what, before me, Claudia spoke about. So it's very important that you understand the value you bring. And I work in I talk a lot. I'm very bubbly, but I work in a very structured way. And this is what my clients love, actually. So let's talk about the Swiss job market. This was actually a PowerPoint presentation so that the points came after each other. Now it's a PDF file, so it's a bit different. But anyway, let's talk about them one by one. Swiss job market, it's small. It's a small country, it's a small market, yet it's a lot bigger than you think. The backbone of Swiss economy is the small and mid-sized companies. It's not just the large one. Obviously, the large one, the obvious ones are for everybody. Google, the banking sector, IBM, and all these large companies, and also the large industrial companies. But actually, as I said, the backbone of Swiss economy is the small and mid-sized companies. If you also speak German, at least at a B1, B2 level, you already have a massive advantage getting into those companies as well. Very risk averse. Very conservative. It's a very, very conservative market. It hasn't changed, and I don't see this changing yet. There are a couple of smaller companies who are a little bit more entrepreneurial, a little bit more open. Some of the large companies are quite more open. However, there's a chunk of the mid-sized Swiss companies that are quite conservative. Conservative, what do I mean by this? Experience-based versus skills-based. When you're pitching for the next job, they look at what you did before. It's not like the Anglo-Saxon job market. They don't look at what your transferable skills are, or they look at it less. It's extremely experience-based in the sense, did you do the same thing before? It's not good. We hate it, but this is what it is. So this is why I'm saying it. So what you did before, and if you didn't do exactly that as before, then they already have, because they will find a Hans Rudi Müller who did exactly the same thing. So when you try to change things or modify it, like change careers and say, this is what I did before, this is where I want to go, then you need to really look for a more entrepreneurial company, a more open-minded company. Companies are very, very risk averse. What do I mean by that? Hiring is a risk. I always say that hiring or getting in it's a bit like dating. You need to date a lot of companies until you find the right match. Make sure you have the right match. For them, it is equally a risk as well, because it costs them a lot of money. It costs them a lot of money to hire somebody for an open position. So they're very risk averse. They don't want people to say, like, hire me and you will see. They want to see exactly why they should hire you. So this is another thing you need to keep in mind when you're pitching for a job. Why should they hire you? And the other thing is, it's a very specialist market. It's not a generalist market. So when you say that I can do all of this from A to Z, I'm your best bet because I can do everything for you, that's too much. Pick an area, pick a niche, and then more narrower the better. And then you say, I am an absolute specialist in this. If you find it very difficult, then pick like 3 niches and say, I'm a specialist in this and this and this. It's absolutely not a generalist market. Because generalists, think about this. If you go to a small countryside restaurant, and then they have a menu which is this thick, and then pages and pages and pages, and you can have everything from Italian and Indian and French and something like international, just average, and Chinese. That probably everything is edible, but none of them are wow. If you think about going to a very upmarket restaurant, then you have a menu which is like a one-pager, 5 dishes, 6 dishes, and then you can choose between 2 main courses and 2 desserts or 3 desserts and 2 starters. But every single item is absolutely amazing. So think about that. Be specific. The more specific you are, the more you can break down this risk-averse attitude that they're afraid to hire you, they're afraid of the unknown, they're afraid because they can't capture what is that you really bring. And the better you can showcase your value, the better you are in reducing that risk. There are a couple of formal requirements in applying online or offline also, how to do that. When they say you should send your complete application package, it usually means your CV in the Swiss format, your a cover letter, preferably. Still, many companies like a cover letter. CV needs a photo and a couple of other details. Cover letter, your work certificates. This is a very Swiss requirement, and your diplomas. So this is your complete application package. You're missing any of that, you're not considered. As I said, the SME, small and medium companies, are the backbone of Swiss economy. So don't get discouraged when you think like, I already applied to Google, IBM, and a couple of other big ones, and nothing. Keep applying. Look for similar ones. Look for a smaller one. There are many companies. Also, a lot of Switzerland is considered one of a very big tech hub. There are a lot of startups, tech startups. Zurich, a lot of tech startups. Also, a lot of large international companies, and especially the tech startups in the finance sector, payments, insurtech, fintech. Many startups are around that as Switzerland. Payments, money, banking. Think about that. A lot of companies are using ATS, applicant tracking systems. They are usually a big gatekeeper. With ATS, you need to have the right keywords. This is why I'm coming back to be specific, be specialized, because when you know your specialization, your niche, then for that niche, you can find the right keywords. Also, you can find the right keywords in the job description. When you're looking at a job description, make sure that you highlight the keywords and use exactly the same words in your CV as well. A lot of companies are outsourcing recruiting, or it's automatized, especially the beginning. Recruiting process at the beginning, there's always the first interview is always a screening interview. Why not? This is where they're looking at, do you have the required skills? Do you have the required experiences, diplomas to do the job? And is there any red flag why they should not hire you? So this is what they're thinking about first. Then if you pass that interview, then you go into more specific and more technical interviews about the job itself. And these interviews are usually with the hiring manager, potential hiring manager, or even your boss and your boss's boss. So think about that as well. The first thing is to get through these gatekeepers, get through ATS, get the right keywords, get through the gate to get into the fortresses. Some companies really appear like a fortress and very, very difficult to get in. And very often recruiting is outsourced, meaning that it's outsourced to external companies where somebody is just checking really check boxes. If you don't have the right keywords, if you don't have the right application, if you don't have the right any missing details, if you don't have the work certificates or anything is missing, then you're out, because most of the people, this is really looking at numbers. Think about that. To one job, one open position, usually there are 300 to 500 applications. 300 to 500 applications. So this is really, really a lot. This is why you really need to think about, how do I best present myself? How do I stand out from this 500 or 300? The worst I heard was there was a really high-level job, and there were 2,000 applications coming in. Now, honestly, 2,000 applications, nobody really looking at 2,000 applications. Even if they did 90% of it, they can be sure that in the 200, they will find the right candidates. So make sure you have the right keywords, the right attitude, the right niching down, specialization. This is so important. And how do you specialize branding, your personal branding? Who are you as a business professional? So here I'm talking about, this is, again, specialist market. Who are you as a business professional? This should be one of the key questions you ask yourself before doing anything, before writing your CV, before rewriting your LinkedIn profile, before anything. Sit down, think back of your successes, think back of feedbacks you ever received, think back of what you do best, what is that you love doing, and you do it very well. What problem do you solve by doing what you do? And this is what makes you the business professional you are. And this is what you need to sell. Getting a new job is a sales process. You have something to offer. You have a value that you bring to the market. You have bring to the market the value, and you need to really very well present it. So then you know that this is what I bring. This is the value I bring. This is how I can make your life easier. This is the results I bring. And going back also to Claudia's presentation before me, when she talked about the STAR method, storytelling, super important, especially the end results, because from these results you understand this is the value you bring. So who are you as a business professional? This is what you need to create first before rewriting your CV, before doing anything. What's your specialization? Why are you unique? Because each and every one of you is unique. I'm working with people from various fields, mostly from tech, banking, because this is where I'm from, banking, pharma, marketing. Yeah, these four. Actually, also these four are the leading industries in Switzerland. So think about that. Who are you as a business professional? This is why specialist. Why are you a specialist? Now, unfortunately, the market is also full of prejudices. Are you employed or not employed? If you are employed, you're a lot better than when you're not employed. Unfortunately, talking about that, please, if any of you have this green sticker on LinkedIn profile, open to work, please take it off, because this is absolutely not helpful on the Swiss market. Why? Because nobody will hire you just because you are free. They will hire you for the value you bring. And then they don't care if you're employed or not. They will approach you. I'm working with leaders, with CEOs and CFOs, and a colleague of mine is working with CMOs. We know that all of them, leaders, are actually creating their own kind of secret talent, handpicked talent pool by looking at LinkedIn profiles. Is your LinkedIn profile really standing out? Do you have a wow factor LinkedIn profile? because this is super important, because leaders are actually creating a pool, a talent pool for themselves. And then when somebody leaves or when they need a new hire, then they send a list of people to HRs like, look at these people, invite them first. So going back to LinkedIn, please take off this free to work or open to work, not helpful. Age, unfortunately, if you're above 50 or even 45, just applying to jobs is a lot more difficult. Then you really need a much bigger push towards networking, energizing your network, energizing your connections. There's this age bias. Background, where you're coming from. I'm a foreigner in the Swiss market. I was born and raised in Hungary. The last 25 years, I lived in the Netherlands, I lived in Germany, and now 15 years in Switzerland. But I'm a foreigner. 90% of my clients are foreigners on the Swiss market because I'm the credible help and source and guide for them, because I know exactly what it is like being on a market when you're a foreigner. As foreigners, we need to change and twist and turn things a little bit differently. There are these Swiss expectations, how you should present things. But still, we need to change them a little bit, to present them a little bit different so that it's still interesting for them. Everything is there, what is needed, but we start with the values that we give. 70% of the jobs are on the hidden job market. This is fact. The more senior you are, the more experienced you are, the higher this percentage gets. What does the hidden job market mean? It doesn't mean that it means network and connections. It doesn't mean that you get a job because you know someone or somebody knows you. But it means that when it comes to an opening, then usually managers look around and say, hey guys, do you know someone? First within the organization, then from outside of the organization, the trust factor. Again, I'm coming back to this risk averse. Hiring is risky. So they want to be sure that they want to first see people who somebody knows these people. So very often that by the time the job is written out openly on LinkedIn or any of the job portals, they kind of already know, or they already have a bunch of potential candidates lined up for interviewing, or are they already quite advanced in the interviewing process. I know it's bad news. The good news is you can beat it through networking. This is why your professional network is so important. Nurturing your existing network and building your network. Reaching out to your network, asking for a job is not networking. But being a professional, exchanging ideas, asking for advice, asking who else do you think I should talk to, that is networking. And this is how you also grow your network. And the good news about the Swiss job market is that in the pandemic, there was a digitalization digitalization leap. It really helped within 1-2 years to go into at least 5 years of development. Remote work, hybrid work, home office. You know what? In banking, when I was in banking, it was absolutely impossible to work from home. Guess what? COVID came, everybody could work from home. Now there's a lot of hybrid positions, which means, and what's the good news in this? It means that if you are, say, around Zurich and you find something in the vicinity of Bern or even Geneva, it's totally possible to do two times a week going down to Geneva to work, and then still 3 days a week working from home. So with this digitalization, with these hybrid offices, hybrid work, you have your search area just grew. You can just almost limitless. I have clients who live in Ticino, in the Italian part of Switzerland, and comes to work to Zug twice a week. Perfectly fine. And she has a family. So There's also kind of a mismatch on the market. Companies are complaining that they are not finding the right talent. People are complaining they're not finding the right companies. Very difficult, big mismatch. So think about again, why they're not finding the right talent. First, because they're very often because their just job description is just long. I don't know if you noticed, if you look at the bigger the company is, the longer the job description. Everything is in it. And then you need to read it very, very carefully. What's really the core activity in this? What is the core I need to do? And what are they, maybe once in a light year, something on the side? Usually those are the exciting things. But then what's the core of this job? And then when somebody leaves and then they need to replace it, and then the manager goes down to HR, is like, okay, can you do a description and then a job description? Then they just look at the job description of the person who left. They prep it up a little bit. They take a few minutes to review, but they don't really take time to write it. At least in my experience, and then some of the feedbacks I hear, they don't really take time. Plus, also a lot of people apply. People apply because they just want to apply. People apply because they are forced by the unemployment agency to submit 12, 15 job applications a month. So like, let's apply to everywhere. So this is why also the screening became very, very strong, because they just want to screen out all these people who are not serious. And then companies think, okay, then we have also implementing ATS, applicant tracking systems. We're implementing keywords. So let's find the right people. And then I know what it is like to look for a job, and then spending days and days and filling out all these portals and uploading CVs and everything. It can take ages, and it's so frustrating. But this is what it is. So this is why networking is so important, because through networking, you might meet the right people, you present yourself better, and actually you can even shape the job you want. The other good news is, or bad news, 25% of people in Switzerland are foreigners. 25%. That's a lot. That's a lot. And all these 25% people, most of them have a job. So when you were coming and say, like, I can't get a job because I'm a foreigner, not really true. Try harder, try better, because you could. And actually, it's a good time now. Market is booming. A lot of the companies are opening up for new markets, but you really need to be specialized. Tech in general doesn't flow well. But think about the niches. Think about cybersecurity. Think about parts of AI. All these things that are coming up now. These are super important. And think about a little bit outside of the box, not just tech companies. Think about production companies. Think about service providers. Technology is just the key and the backbone of all of this. I'm coming from banking, and even banking, I'm super proud. I was working with Citigroup for over 16 years, and then 2 other banks as well. But the core was basically Citi. Citi is super advanced in technology, and I was always very, very proud of that, because Asia and other countries, we provided the best technology background. There's so much development in that. So think about all the little bit outside of the box, like what you thought before and where else. Culture is super important. What culture the companies are. Job search can feel like an uphill battle. Now, a couple of bad news here. Traditional recruiters represent only 10% of all successful job searches. There are not many recruiters in Switzerland. Many of them are struggling because they don't get a mandate. Some get a mandate, the really good ones, the advanced ones, the ones who have long-term connections, long-term relationships with the companies, they do get mandates. But this again is a shift from what happened in the last couple of days. A lot of jobs are up on LinkedIn. Companies are not paying for that. I'm not talking at headhunters, where there's really high-level C-level jobs, or senior executives where they're looking for people, but Anything below that, companies usually don't pay for that. They can get 600 applicants anyway, just posting it on LinkedIn. The online job boards, most of them are for junior roles, mostly junior roles. Only 15% of successful job searches are through job boards. 15%. 70% or 70 or even more through the hidden job market, networking. Coming back to all of that. So branding, networking, the two most important elements, and the third one is successful interviewing. The three most important elements of a successful job search. The industries are changing, the landscape is changing, a lot of new tech companies growing up, small tech companies. Some of the big tech companies have been reducing in the last couple of days. Recently, pharma is struggling and reducing people. So think about, follow the trends. Always follow the trends. Read newspaper articles. What's trending now? What is going on? What's happening on the market? Which companies are growing? Which companies are not growing? And competition, it's a massive competition. There's local competition. You're competing with the locals. You're competing with the other foreigners living in Switzerland, and you're competing with the other foreigners not living in Switzerland yet. Some of the big companies are bringing in people. Google, constantly bringing in people from abroad. There are less and less senior jobs. So when you're very senior level, it's a pyramid. Up there's just a few people needed. So think about, again, what's your specialization? What makes you stand out? What's the result and the value you bring? A lot of the companies are preparing for growth, despite of all news, but they're also shifting. And if you're 50 plus, it's very, very important to learn new skills, and not just learn, but also use them. So if you're 45-ish, learn new skills and start using them somehow in your current job. So even if it's not part of your job description, you can already say that I used it. So it's not just that you have a Coursera paper that you did a course, but you also have practice in it. You already tried to do something in it. You already did something. You achieved something. You have results in it. Networking, super important, or start your own business. Typical mistakes that people make when looking for a job. No clarity and focus about what they want. Be very specific, be clear, know exactly. I know fear of missing out kicks in. I can do all of this. Think about what is that you really want. What is that you want? If I was your fairy godmother and I said, here's my magic wand, and I can get you any job you want, what would that be? Write it down now into your notebook or somewhere on your phone. What would be that job? And start looking for that job, and then the jobs that are similar to that, because this is where your heart beats. And then when you sit down to interview, people see it in your face, in your eyes, that you're really enthusiastic about that. This is what you really want. The other mistake is not knowing the true value you bring for employers. Again, branding, understanding your value. Not clearly expressing why you're a strong candidate. And here I come back to the value again. Not having a clear job search strategy. Rushing, flooding the market with CVs, sending CVs everywhere. I call it spaghetti marketing. Spaghetti, throwing it to the wall and see what sticks. Not a good strategy, believe me. And it's a small market. I come back to that. It's a small market. Don't flood the market with your CV, because people talk. And maybe the HR person at one company is the husband of another leader at another company. It's like, oh God, I guess I got this CV and I got this CV too. And a cousin chips in. It's like, oh, I got that CV too. You don't want that. You don't want to look desperate. There's too much focus on the CV. CV is important, but focus on your LinkedIn profile, focus on networking, understand your value. a lot more important. Once you know that, you can do the CV too, but CV is not the most important element in this. A lot of people are not using their professional network efficiently. Again, asking for a job is not networking. A lot of people are also not negotiating properly. They leave money on the table or don't know how to win over typical biases. Age, typically. For women, having children, very difficult. Bias, very big bias in Switzerland. If you have children, and it's like, oh, who will take care of the children then? So if you make sure that the childcare is arranged and it has absolutely no influence on my performance, has never had, that's a big step ahead. Not having the right application package, you have to have everything right, the right CV format, right CV in the right format, work certificates, diplomas, everything. That's a full package that most of them require. Easy apply, LinkedIn easy apply, very often results in easy reject. So rather go the slower route of networking, getting to know people right, speaking to the right people, rather than just pushing the buttons. And permits, very important that you have the right permits to stay and work in Switzerland. And then have guidance. Look for people, look for guidance, small, big one, bigger guidance, programs, everything, because you just lose time and money by trying to yourself. And try it yourself first. But if it doesn't work, don't wait too long. I have clients who come to me like after a year and a half of looking. By then they're already frustrated, tired, impatient. Don't wait too long. So you can do two things: applying to job ads and just get a job, or through networking, understanding your value, creating your own position. These are the two approaches. And believe me, the more senior you are, the more value you bring, go through the networking route. And yes, you still need to have the CV ready and everything fixed, and you may have to go through the official way as well to submitting your CV and your application package. But then already internally you have a massive supporter base, people who want you to succeed. So I just summarize. I think I'm running out of time a little bit here. So thank you for your patience. So get clarity and focus about what you want. Super, super important. Know why you're a strong candidate for the job. Be very clear on the job strategy. What's your strategy? Who's your audience? How do I get to that audience? And then adjust your CV to that and have a wow LinkedIn profile and build and nurture your brand, who you are as a business professional. What are you known for? What are you the go-to person for? And negotiate. Don't leave money on the table, and understand the possible biases and seek for guidance. So this is very important. This is lone fighter or getting support. It's important to get support groups. There are a couple of Facebook groups, there are LinkedIn groups, reach out to people. If your job seeking is different, then very often friends, family don't understand what it is like looking for a job, because they haven't been there, not in that phase, not in that country maybe. I'm happy to help you. There's a long list of why, because I know I've been on that market. I understand the market. I work through the process, but I don't want to pitch. So if you're interested in listening or knowing more how I can help you, reach out to me. I think I have all the details here. So I hope to stay in touch. I'm, as I said, I'm not tech. I forgot the QR code. That was a great idea by Claudia. She did it well, very, very well. So these are my details. Reach out to me, and I'm happy to help, happy to respond, happy to explore together how I can best help you to get the job you want. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being That's it. And I see two questions. Hey, Tripti.
Hi.
I see a question here from Daria. Is Sing network popular in Switzerland? Sing is German. Yes and no. It's very popular within the German-speaking community. I'd rather recommend to use LinkedIn because LinkedIn has it all.
Right. So we are running a bit late, right? So no worries, no
I'm
worries. So,
excited talking about it.
yeah. So what you can do is, Eva, you can go back to the event page, right? And then you can check out the comments because there are a few comments I see. So you can answer them personally. And also that you mentioned you forgot to mention your QR code. So you can just drop down your LinkedIn on the comment section so people can connect with you and network with you directly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And
Thank you
so much, Shifty, for organizing. This is an amazing job fair. And keep doing it. And hope it
Thank
helps.
you. And it's a pleasure having you with us today. Bye-bye. Well, guys, just don't go anywhere. We have a few more sessions lined up for you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Miss Caroline Grutoff. Hi, Caroline.
Hello, welcome everyone.
Yeah, I understand we are running a bit late, but that doesn't take my chance of introducing you. So I'm really excited to introduce you as a growth coach for over 20 years. She empowers individuals and organizations to excel through proactive coaching and management methodologies like Lean, Six Sigma. She ensures tangible results. She specialization in career coaching, executive coaching, leadership development, and team building. So her approach involves active listening, empathy, and non-judgmental attitude, fostering clarity, confidence, and effective solutions. So, Caroline, I think I don't want to take much of your time, and the spotlight is all on you.
Thank you so much. So what I wanted to start with today is to talk about how the right mindset can get you hired, land you the dream job. What I see a lot of my clients do before they come to me, and even just hearing today and in the market in general, people are talking a lot about action, action, action. So are you networking? Are you on the right search boards? Your applications? Is your CV ready? All of that action, action, action. What secret ingredient that I think we're missing here is the mindset. And I'll think back to top athletes. Top athletes actually focus a lot of their percentage of the time on their mindset. Like, I'm Dutch, I love Formula One, our Max Verstappen, and he knows the track inside and out. He can actually do the race with his eyes closed. He sees himself already on the stage, winning the race, being the world champion. Other athletes like tennisers and stuff, they all do this. They visualize every element already in that success and growth mindset. So ask yourself, where is your focus now? Is it on the action or is it on the mindset? And studies show that it should actually be like 80% on the mindset and then 20% on the action that is aligned with that mindset. So that might shock you a bit. I'm a career growth coach, 20 years of experience in corporate industries, IT, telecom, banking, and insurance. I used to work at UBS and Zurich Life Insurance. I've lived in over 4 continents, 6 countries, and speak multiple languages. It is my passion to help people to get into that growth mindset, being a high performer and having that energy at a high level constantly without burning out. So what's the key in mindset? You need to stop doing the same thing and then expecting a different result. You need to change your mindset, start shifting things around. And when you step into that new mindset, you will see the new results. So we're going to look at it a bit later on, and Eva already mentioned it, your personal branding. What is your professional mindset and branding going to look like? And what is creating your current behaviors and actions? Might be a surprise to hear that actually 95% of the time, your subconscious mind is running the show. That means that you're running on autopilot. And this autopilot, this part of the brain that started receiving programming when you were born. In the first 7 years of your life, you have received most of your initial software programming. Those come through stories, beliefs, and that whole element starts to form your mindset. And only 5% of our time, it is our conscious mind that is leading our behaviors and our actions. These neuroscience studies were actually come from the time from Freud. And it is that shift, knowing that that subconscious, which is now actually the highway, needs to have some more positive and empowering thoughts. So now let's look at what are some of the elements that are holding you back. And earlier this week, the software engineer from my previous job, he reached out to me and he was saying, I applied to Google, to Microsoft, to 10 other companies, and it's so hard to find a job. Caroline, I need your help. And I said, well, the first thing we're going to start to do is not say that it's so hard to find a job. So if you're saying to yourself, it's hard, I might not have the right experience, I'm missing part of the education, or they're asking this in the job application and I might not know that programming language. Others are better than me. I don't speak Swiss German well enough, or French or Italian. Those are the things that are actually also holding you back. And challenge yourself to ask yourself in the beginning, like, is this the most empowering thought I can be thinking about this right now? And the second, is this really true? Or can I learn this? Can something shift? And understand that the main task of your brain is to keep you safe. You need to convince your brain, your subconscious that is running the show 95% of the time, that you have got this, that you are ready for stepping into this new job, and that you are able to come out of your comfort zone and survive and be totally okay. So what you focus on is what you will see in the outside world. What you focus on is what shows up. And here's a little test. If I say, don't think about the pink elephant. No, don't think about the pink elephant. Don't think about the pink elephant. What is it that you're all thinking about right now? That pink elephant. You might not even register other opportunities that are coming up through Indeed, your network, someone that you know, something that you just saw. Some of these synchronicities. So once you start telling yourself, you can do this, you are exactly the right person and the perfect job for you is out there, look at these synchronicities that are going to start showing up. Maybe indeed through an old friend or an email you come across or something you see somewhere, and all of a sudden this light bulb moment goes off and you think, oh yeah, that's the one I need to go after. So who do you need to be? Who is this new identity, this professional identity, your personal brand of who you are that you need to step into? First, however, you need to start releasing some of these stories that are holding you back. And to find out what these stories are, you just have to sit in silence for a moment and hear what you are telling yourself, that little voice internally, or even what you're telling your friends, your family, your partner about your job search at the moment. Once you delete this old programming, you are going to create more space for positive things to come into your life and start showing up. Then you start with reprogramming yourself and your thoughts with more empowering and positive stories about yourself, about the job market, about your skills and your experience, about what is out there, what is waiting for you. And reprogramming, it takes a bit of time, because over years and years, we have built up that more disempowering story, which is the highway. So building up that more empowering story, again, 80% of the time goes into reprogramming your mind. Eva and Claudia already mentioned it. Know what makes you unique. What's your personal brand? Here are 3 elements that you can also incorporate into the mix. Discover your core values. Your core values are the compass in which you lead your life. Finding a job in a company that has values that align with your core values means that it's going to cost you less energy. You're going to excel, be highly motivated, and costing less energy means also less chance of burnout. Superpowers. I loved how Claudia called this your brag book, but this is a bit similar. What makes you unique? What makes you stand out? If you don't know, ask the people around you, your boss, your colleagues, friends and family, and look at what is it that people come to you for? What is the thing that they ask you? What do you enjoy doing? What lights you up and makes you passionate? And write those down in your brag book so that once that question comes, you're not going to say, oh, that's a dreaded question. You're going to say, yes, I've got this. I am totally ready for this question. Another tool is the Japanese Ikigai. And Ikigai stands for reason of being. And it's a concept that encourages you to discover what your purpose is, what fills you with joy. Again, if you're doing a job that fills you also with joy and is aligned with your purpose, it's going to give you energy, it's going to motivate you, and it's going to propel you forward. Here are some practical mindset tools that you can start using. And it is all about practice, practice, practice. It's like going to the gym. You can't expect to have these muscles and that washboard if you just go to the gym once. This is a daily practice. Again, the majority of the time you're going to practice with these tools. The easiest one to start with is empowering positive language. Watch what are the words that are coming out of your mouth and make sure they are positive. The next is, what are you thinking in your mind? Make sure these are positive too. Then start using visualization. Copy this hack from the top athletes. Just see yourself in that job. What are you doing on a daily basis? Who are you working with? How are you making an impact? All these small elements. And to help you connect with that, you can use a tool which we call the vision board. A vision board just makes it visual. So look at pictures of, again, the workplace, the desk, the colleagues. Where is it? What language are they speaking? How does the restaurant and the coffee shop look like? What tech are you working with? What excites you? What is the salary level that you're earning? All these elements go on to your mood board, your vision board. And then the last 2 tools are tools that you can use before you go into the interview process. These can also be used for a virtual interview. And one is the power pose. The power pose are also called Superman pose, based on Amy Cuddy's studies. If you do this for 2 minutes, you are tricking your mind into a more positive, confident stance. And it's also going to help you release some of this negative tension and energy. And I'm not saying if you're already in the lobby of or the reception that you're stand there doing the power pose. Find a more private space where you can do that, or dance to a power song, but do something that releases that nervous energy and switches your brain into that positive, confident mindset. Another tool that we have with us and we use actually every minute is the power of our breath. Use deep breath, like inhale through the nose, fill up the lungs, then fill up your belly. Again, that helps you come across more energetic, more confident, more calm. And that is something you can, again, practice with before and then make sure you use it on the day. Especially if you're a bit nervous before, just take a couple of minutes to practice with your breath. These are the two tools I also use in my interview prep with the coaching clients I work with. Often we have a quick 15-minute call just before they go into the interview to help them with these two elements. We already heard it here today, also from Claudia and Eva. Know what you want. What I want to add to this is know how it makes you feel. As people, we are emotional creatures, connect with that emotion. We need to be able to define what we want before we can design it and find it. So be very specific and get clarity on the ambition, create that vision of that next step in your career and even in your life. And to help you just do that, we're going to do a very quick visualization. So just close your eyes for just 1 minute. Sit back in your chair, sit nice and upright with the spine, both feet on the floor. This ensures that your energy is flowing. Slowly roll back your shoulders and just relax. So what does success look like for you? How does that job look like? What are you doing on a daily basis? Who are you working with? What's the type of contract that you're looking to land? What's the salary level that you're aiming for? And here your little saboteur might already be stepping in and saying, oh, but that's too hard. Release and relax that critical voice inside you and start seeing the salary that you want and the lifestyle that that's going to give you and maybe your family or your partner. Believe that it is possible. What is the personal development and growth that this career is going to offer you? What elements does it need to have to align with your values and with your purpose? What is the lifestyle that it's offering you? We already heard that hybrid working is becoming more of a trend also in Switzerland. What's the lifestyle that you want? At some point, I wanted to travel the world, so I wanted a job that would send me to different places of the world. And they sent me to Hong Kong, Australia, Ireland, all over the world. And now with my coaching, I said I wanted to discover even more, and I can do this working as a digital nomad. But really be clear on what does success look like for you and connect with that vision of success on a daily basis. And this might be new for you, so just give it a try. In the beginning, I talked about 80-20, and that's exactly how I build up this presentation. So we've covered the 80%. Now we come to the part of planning, strategy, and action. You do need to plan out how you're going to get there and be very specific. Define it in small, measurable steps that you can achieve. writing your resume, working on your network, working on your LinkedIn profile, reaching out to HR contacts, sending out applications, and then look at how you will measure the progress that you're making. Remember, small steps will get you to your end result, but you need to be taking consistent small steps. So define what the output is going to look like, who you're going to ask for feedback, and how you're going to test it. And then celebrate success. And I'm not talking about the success once you've landed the dream job, but I'm talking about all the small steps to keep your motivation high and to keep yourself performing at this high level. It's very important to celebrate after every small step and also give yourself regular breaks. Again, keeping that energy high and making sure that you reach the end goal. And these celebrations, they can be small things. I'm going to go for a nice cappuccino, or going to go for a drink with friends. I'm going to buy my new backpack or a new bike. It can be whatever it is, but define it before and make sure you do these celebrations. And again, that's where you can be the Lone Ranger, or you can have your support network that celebrate also with you. Throughout the whole process, there is this reflect, learn, and grow. Reflect on what went well, what could you do to improve, what are you going to do differently next time. Learn from the process. What did you learn? How are you going to hold on to this learning? So write those down. And how are you going to apply this in the next step of the process, in the next step of your career, so that you start excelling? And growth. Define already how you're going to keep your personal development and growth high. How are you going to hold on to this growth mindset? Because it doesn't stop with landing your dream job. You want to continue this path of acceleration and growth throughout your career and life. And mindset, the growth mindset, is a very important step in doing that. So quick summary of the steps that we went through. So what is it that you're looking for? Get clarity on the aspiration of your career and the next step. Understand the why certain life choices excite you. Discovering your values, your purpose, and what drives you in life. The how, again, specific bite-sized steps. How are they going to get you closer to your goal? How are you going to measure that? The barriers. What are the things that are holding you back? And again, here it's very important to also get support, because sometimes we don't want to look at what is really holding us back, or if there's skeletons in the closet. And reflect and learn throughout the process to hold on to that growth mindset. And I also really love that analogy about the date. Going to a job interview, approach it like you're going on a date, and don't do it like, am I good enough? But are they the right fit for me right now? It's a two-way street. And if it doesn't go perfect the first time, put a recovery toolkit in place. Have your strategies ready. And that can be, who's the support network friend I'm going to call? What's the power song that's going to get my energy up again? Who's the friend I'm going to hang out with, or the coach that I'm going to call? Where am I going to keep a log of the lessons I've learned? And switching your state. Sports, going for a walk, going to the gym is very good at getting you out of a state where you might be a bit sad or let down. Just shift that state. It's actually what Tony Robbins uses in his big programs. He's a mega American style coach, helping people change their lives, and he really switches those out of their state. Could also just grab a good book and read, spend time with friends and family. And you know yourself best, so you will know which strategies you need to put in place to be okay and get to that high motivation, high energy level that makes it possible for you to perform again. So start believing in yourself, start using that positive self-talk, start visualizing yourself landing that dream job, getting to the next step in your life, holding on to that growth mindset and propelling your career, your life, and your happiness, because you are worth it. So let's connect. You are already on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find me on LinkedIn. For the first people that DM me with indeed Tech Job Fair, I'm going to put in a 20-minute talk together with you to really make a tailor-made positive mindset toolkit that you can start working with to prepare you and to land you that dream job. Remember, big journeys start with small steps. It's been a super pleasure to be here with you today. I wish you all the success, and I know that you are going to land your dream job.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I think that was a beautiful presentation. And I want to add something here from my end. You know, how usually when we exercise, that cooling down is the most important aspect, right, of working out and everything. So I think your session was like that. This is something we need throughout our journey, you know, not just in terms of job searching or anything. So I think your session was like a really nice cool down session to bring, you know, for the webinar. So thank you so much for your very calming presentation and, you know, enlightening our viewers with such beautiful, valuable tips. And let's take a minute or two to see if, you know, our viewers have any questions here for you, right? But till
Yes.
then, I think you can take a moment to add in your final values, you know, and your final tip to our viewers in order to, you know, proceed with their career start or career growth.
Again, the mindset is super important. So put timers in your phone at least 6 times a day, 2 minutes. Just try out one of the tools. Again, you need to start building that new highway, that empowering positive self-talk. Know what you want, but you need to believe that you can have it. You need to see yourself already there in that job. How are you feeling? What are you doing? Who are you hanging out with? What are you wearing? All these small details. You trick the brain into you are already there and you will be there. And it is a journey, so get support on that journey. Like Eva already said, sometimes people think they need to do it all alone. They need to carry this burden alone, but it can be a little bit of a journey. And what we saw is a lot of these negative statements already around. And once you're in that job search, you will hear those from people around you trying to connect like that. So breaking that pattern, you need someone in your corner cheering you on. And again, all top athletes work together with a coach. They have a team around them. So approach it like a top athlete. Get your coach, get your top team around you, put the strategies already in place, practice with those so that it's so easy for you to grab them once you need them.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. And like she mentioned, guys, if you want you know, a session with her for you to have like a positive, optimistic mindset to begin your journey in the job search and everything, you can always reach out to her, network with her, and get that session of, you know, coaching with her. So also from my end, Carolyn, you can, you know, mention your LinkedIn profile on the comment section later from the event page, so that people can directly connect with you and they can directly, you know, network with you in any aspect.
Yeah, and I share a lot of the tips as well in my LinkedIn articles. So that's also a valuable thing to add into your toolkit, definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Caroline. It was wonderful having you, and it was a beautiful presentation too that you
Thank
took
you
us
so
to.
much. It's been a super pleasure. Great initiative that you're doing and a lot of valuable knowledge. It was also great to see the other speakers. So wishing you all the best of luck. And you've
Thank you
got
so
this.
much.
So believe in yourself and go practice these power poses and
Yeah.
enjoy the process.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Well, guys, don't go anywhere because we do have one last speaker with us who certainly is not the least. So let's welcome Mr. Aman Afsar Khan, who is a talent advisor at Higher Tech Talent. Hi, Aman. How are you doing today?
Hello, Tripti. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. So guys, Aman is here to guide you on leveraging the higher tech talent platform for securing your next role. So Aman, the stage is all yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Tripti. So hopefully everyone have got some new idea and strategy to approach employers. And I'm going to introduce Higher Tech Talent here. So Higher Tech Talent is, as the name suggests, it is tech-focused platform, and it is part of Tech Jobs Fair. And we work in 16 different countries like Switzerland, United Kingdom, Germany, Austria. So we have employees from various countries, and I'm going to share more specific how it is going to help talents. So on Higher Tech Talent, just talents, the candidates have to create their profile once. It will be screened by a team of our talent advocates, and then it will be visible to the employers. So now after it can, job seekers don't have to apply again and again for the job opportunities. You have created your profile once, it is enough. Now it will be visible to all of the employers of Higher Tech Talent, and then they are going to apply to you. So you don't have to apply again and again to the job postings. And then it is also on Higher Tech Talent. Through Higher Tech Talent you can get registered for the various events that is organized by Tech Job Fair. And so Higher Tech Talent we focused mostly on the technical opportunities like software engineers, machine learning engineers, cloud engineers, DevOps engineers. And we also focus on other domains like project management, product management, product ownership. We also focus in sales domain like business development, sales managers. And we also focus in the marketing domains like UX designers, UI designers, graphic designers. So all kind of opportunities are available on Higher Tech Talent. uh, and everyone face difficulty to create cover letter. So on Higher Tech Talent you don't have to do anything to create cover letter. We ask some straightforward question, you just have to answer it. That will serve the purpose of cover letter, so you don't have to worry about this. And on Higher Tech Talent, like you don't have to apply to the multiple job openings like the traditional job boards, where companies publish about their requirement and then candidates apply to them. And uh, uh, for the opportunities, like many opportunities they apply and they don't receive feedbacks also that what happened with their application. So you don't have to worry about those things here. Here you just have to create your profile and it will be live to the employers, and then employers are going to connect with you. So you don't have to spend any time in applying the jobs. And so usually in the traditional way of recruiting, there are some difficulty faced by talents. So one of I will point out some of the difficulties. For example, if you are going to apply to any job post, so there will be some information about the opportunity that will be there, but many of the information that is needed is not there, right? So you apply to the position, and when the HR connect with you, you see that, oh, this thing is also required. So your time is not productive there, right? So that's why on higher tech talent, the process is very transparent. If any company is going to approach to you, they will send you all of the information about the opportunity, like what will be your roles and responsibilities, what are the technical skills as well as soft skills required by that organization, what will be the yearly gross salary, location of the position, and various other details will be there. Apart from that, on the traditional job boards, you will rarely see the information about the organization who is connecting with you. So on higher tech talent, whenever any company approaches you, you will be able to see their whole company profile. So you will have details like why you should work with them, what are the company culture, what is the infrastructure. So you will get various details about the organization that any job seeker will seek. So you can just go through their company profile and you have all of the information about the organization. Some of our speakers also pointed out that our resume or CV should be ATS friendly so that employers can find us easily. So you don't have to worry about that thing here, because on higher tech talent we provide most efficient way of sourcing to the employers. So if any employer want to source you, they can just apply for some basic filters like the required skill sets and some specialties like front-end developer or cloud engineer, these kind of specialties, and your profile will appear to them. So it is most efficient way of sourcing, so you don't have to worry whether your profile is ATS friendly or not. And on higher tech talent, so like in the usual way of recruitment, there are yeah, because some information are missing, so we get into this misunderstanding that what company is looking for, what are their required skill sets. So here every information will be available to you. Now we have provided some solutions for the companies as well as for the employers for most efficient way of recruiting. So once you have created your profile, we pre-screen it and then it will be made live to the employers, right? After then, employers can send you some job invitations, and you will have to accept their invitation in order to get interviewed. So before conducting interview, employers can also send you a list of questions of particular programming language, and then you have to solve it. You have to submit your answer and output. So employer will have the idea about your skill in that programming language, and then they can conduct interviews according to your availability. So companies can find you are technically capable for them or not easily, and you will be shortlisted once you have completed their skill assessment and once you have passed their interviews. They can also find if you are cultural fit or not through just through your profile and through interviews. And your linguistic abilities can also be assessed through higher tech talent. And so how the platform works for the talents, and what is the process. So job seekers just have to log on to highertechtalent.com and sign up as talent, and then they will have to complete the profile. There will be different sections. You just have to mention those details. After it will be screened by team of our talent advocates, and then they will approve and make your profile live to the employers. So once your profile is live to the employers, companies are going to apply to you with job invitations, and you can accept or reject their invitations based on your preference. Once you have accepted any invitation, you will get interviewed, you will get skill assessment, and then a company will send you offer. So I will be just comparing how higher tech talent is different from other job boards. So other job boards usually work as job listing platform. So if company have some requirement, then they are going to publish their requirements on that platform, and then candidates will apply to them. So in this way, company receive more than 1,000 of applications, and within 500 of applications, they are able to find the right talent for themselves. So this is the main reason why other candidates never receive feedback that what happened with their application. So on higher tech talent, because it is a reverse recruiting platform, so here only candidates have to create their profile, and they don't need to apply to the job postings of the companies, but companies are going to connect with you with all of the information about the opportunity and about their organization. So you don't have to repeatedly apply for different positions here. Once you have created your profile, that is enough. Here, you don't have to customize your profile and your CV for different application. Once you have created your application, mention all of the details. If you are learning some new skills or if you are getting some new certifications, you can mention those things on Higher Tech Talent Sure. And here, if any company has approached you, so it clearly means that they are strongly interested in your profile and they are impressed by your work experiences, by your skill sets. So you will only get relevant interview invitations, which will save your time. And apart from that, here there are other things as well. For example, you will get list of the interview invitations which you can accept or reject based on your preference. While accepting it, you can provide your interview availability. While rejecting it, you can just write why you are not accepting their invitation. And here, because I mentioned in the first slide that we are focused in the technical industry, so all the companies on Higher Tech Talent, they have technical positions and in the technical industry. So whether it is from the sales domain or project management or in marketing domain, so it is from the technical industry only. Here, one more thing is there. Once a company has approached you, you will be able to have conversation with them. So you will be able to network with them and have conversation with them to discuss more about the opportunity or about the organization or to know what they are looking for. So you will have interaction with them. And usually to receive feedbacks, like we have to give our much time to receive the feedbacks, right? We have to wait longer. On Higher Tech Talent, that is not the thing. Employers inform you just after the 1 or 2 days of interview. They will revert to you with the feedback of the interview. So it will not take much time of yours. And so this is how Higher Tech Talent is going to help candidates to get the opportunities. And you can just log on to Higher Tech Talent, complete your profile, and connect with many companies across globe. And if you have any questions, just drop an email on support@highertechtalent.com, and our team will be happy to help you in getting opportunities.
Thank you so much, Aman. I think that was very detailed, and everyone now knows how to, create their profile 100% on Higher Tech Talent. And guys, like Aman said, that it's important to have your complete profile on the platform. So please make sure to have your complete profile created on Higher Tech Talent.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much,
And
Aman. If we have any questions, you can always reply to them, on the comment section.
yeah,
Yes?
sure. I will go through it once and I will check all of the questions and answer it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aman.
Yeah, thank you, Tripti, for having me, and thank you, everyone.
It was a pleasure having you, and thank you so much for explaining the platform. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us till now. And as we near the conclusion of our webinar, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for your participation. Your presence and support have been instrumental in making this webinar a huge success. So thank you so much for your active participation, and thank you for being with us till now. So wishing each one of you a very all the best for your future endeavors. We will meet soon again. Until next time, goodbye and take care.